It's all part. What you hear good about Africa behind monkeys, gorillas, and tigers?
What's up YouTube? What's up Africans? What's up African Americans? What's up Caribbeans and everyone, black family? Thank you so much for turning on my YouTube channel. There is this video of one black American, Ayatollah Marv, who spoke something, was in an interview, and he said something about Africa. He said that the only good thing in Africa is monkeys, tigers, you know, those wildlife is the only thing in Africa. And he termed Africa as a, by the way, he said Africa. He said Africa is poor, there's nothing good about Africa. First of all, let's listen to what he said, and then we will listen on his apology to Africans.
What's the furthest you ever went away for a detail?
Africa.
You went to Africa?
Yeah, went on the detail with Cap, with Lennox Lewis.
Really? Okay, what was that like? We got to talk about that for Lennox Lewis?
Yeah.
Because he had a hell of a run.
Hasim Rahman, fight with Hasim
Rahman. What was that like going to Africa to do that detail?
Fuck Africa.
You don't like Africa?
Why?
We got more shit going on in Compton than Africa.
What part of Africa did you go to?
Johannesburg, Soweto, Sun City. You see, if you see rap shows, black rap shows in Africa, you never see them in a building. Africans can't go into certain parts of, and so you tell me that you got such a strong country of Africa, and you're 80% of the population, and other people aren't but 20% of the population, and they control your diamonds, control your ore, your oil, and all your minerals, 20%. And you trust in God, and he won't get rid of them 20% for you? We ain't but 12% of the population in America, and we got color TVs, microwaves, video games. We're not walking around barefooted. So what did I wouldn't go in Africa if you paid me.
So you saying that Africa is just oppressed, and the government doesn't help the blacks in Africa, or
the chosen few? Do you realize in Africa, you know why we started a driver's license? Before, we didn't have to have driver's license. In Africa, under apartheid, you had to have a card to go to anything out of your township. And that card was for you to go to work. In Johannesburg, they got 3 steps. 3 streets, 3 steps. The top step is for whites. The second step is for coloreds. The bottom step is, they call them for the Cameroon, for the devil, for black folks. If an African is caught on the top step, they kill him immediately and sweep the step down a whole week with bleach, cleansing it from the Cameroon. That mentality ain't changed.
What's the difference between a
colored and a Cameroon?
A colored is an Arab, Indian. A nappy-head black is a Cameroon.
Okay.
And they the lowest of the low.
The lowest of the low, and they still the lowest.
And that's the way they treat them today in Africa.
Right now, just like they picking cotton in Huntsville. Yeah. Yeah, they being niggas in Africa.
Does it depend on what part of Africa?
It's all part. What you hear good about Africa behind monkeys, gorillas, and tigers? You got some rich blacks there, but you got so much poverty. I mean, poverty. You know, you got multiple wives, 5 wives, and y'all stand in adobe hut. They ain't like they stand in Manchester. The Nickerson Gardens, the projects in California look better than some of their townships.
So they come over here and a lot of times act as if everybody need to go to Africa.
Yeah, but they don't go back. All them Africans that come over here, they marry them a white woman, get them a job, and I send money to my people. Take your black ass back home.
But when I be watching those African movies, which are filmed over there in Africa, some of those houses look, and these are black folks that you're seeing in these houses, having maids and chauffeurs and everything else.
Brother just told you, you're a Casper, that wasn't my house. I did the filming in the house, but I had to go home. You looking at MTV Cribs, that ain't their house.
So
that's a prop.
That's a prop. They just setting it up like that.
You know.
But when you go over there, being in your experience, when you seen it with your own eyes, that they don't treat people.
We had a sheikh. This sheikh is over there. Now Shahid, I love this brother because he's an optimist. I'm a pessimist. I believe every day it's gonna rain, and if the sun shine, I thank Allah for the sun shining. But I'm bringing a raincoat just in case. You know what I'm saying? I look for the worst in shit. If the best happened, it's a blessing. But if the worst happened, I expect it, right? So they had this little sheikh, he about 4'3", and he got one gray eye, right? And he's talking about, oh, yes, brother, Allah has blessed me, and Allah does this, and he tells Captain he wants us to give him a goat, right? So he's telling about, he has this big tiger's tooth on his shirt, right? Around, and he says when Allah blessed him so much, the Ayatollah, he doesn't believe in me. I can tell he doesn't believe. Hell no, I'm from Compton. You know what I'm saying? So he tells us a story when he was told it was a lion that ravaged their village and was eating up people in the village, and he prayed. And when he prayed, Allah sent him out to the forest, and the lion came and he stabbed and killed him, and all you got is little memes by, and that's the lion's tooth right there. He had killed him at 12, his story, right? And he says that now he became Noah. They had a big flood that was coming, and he put his staff down, and he put his staff in the water, stopped before he killed all the people, right? So I said, well, Sheikh, if you did all that and Allah blessed you to kill a lion and stop water, how come you can't ask Allah to kill these 20% peckerwoods that's running your, oh brother, you can, how come that ain't nothing for him, huh? The fuck you telling me? I wish I would give you a goat.
Welcome back. Now, this is what he said. This is what Ayatollah Marv said about Africa. You can hear him ranting some insensitive things about the motherland. And it's very bad for a person, a black person, a black American, where your ancestors came from, you are speaking insensitive words about the motherland. This is the motherland. It's the mother of all human beings. It's the mother nature. It's the founder of human beings. Here is where God stepped his first foot in the motherland. You are talking about that. Now, a lot of Africans go against him. And let's see what he said after that.
I had a hell of a month this month. I'm in response to some comments that I made on Boss Talk about Africa. I went viral on hate mail. I think I got more hate mail than Charleston White, bro. These Africans, they was mad at me about me talking about Africa. And, you know, I was wondering what the hell I had said, like, that offended them so bad. I finally went back and listened to the tape, and I was mad too, shoot. You know, so I'm here, I'm on today to the Africans and African lovers that I have to apologize for some of the brass shit that came out my mouth about Africa, about monkeys and tigers. I wouldn't want nobody saying, you know, something like that about Compton. I'd be real offended if they was talking about a bunch of projects in Compton and it wasn't true and it wasn't like that. But I wanted to, you know, understand or give an understanding that there are some beautiful places in Africa, and there's, you know, a lot of sightseeing, and there's a lot of things that could be uplifting that are being uplifted today. But we still have to deal with the fact. I'm just fact checking on South Africa, like, oh, you know, the continent of Africa. It's just like the United States. If you go to Mississippi, it ain't like California. I didn't have a good experience. One of my friends got malaria. The other one got vertigo, and it was, but you have beautiful things in Africa, but the mass of black people in Africa are still struggling. You know, I never said I was there in 2023, but it ain't changed that much from 2001. The dynamics we have to deal with the facts. And the facts is, your history don't depict all the beauty and glamour that you claim that's going on in Africa, because the masses in South Africa, you don't know the continent. Well, United States got 51 states in the United States, and not every state is the same. In Johannesburg and South Africa, Nigeria, they got their own president. I thought one president was for all of Africa, but it's not. I didn't know that, but now I know. Y'all ain't even got it together where you under one utilitarianism stance with what's going on in Africa. So it's like, we talked about, I was talking about apartheid and white supremacy from 1948 to 1994. The Population Registration Act of 1950 provided the basic framework for apartheid and classified South Africans by race, including Buta, black Africans, and coloreds, and mixed race, and whites, right? So you started segregation under apartheid. Apartheid is apartness. And you made it. So in 1950, the government banned marriage between whites and other races, and prohibited sexual relationships between blacks and whites, South Africans. A series of land acts set aside more than 80% of the country's land to the white minority, and passed laws required non-whites to carry documents. From 48 through the 90s, a single word documented life in South Africa. Apartness was kept the country's majority black population under the thumb of the small white minority. 1960, remember Sharpsville? Those that you don't remember Sharpsville, a protest that happened in 1960 that shot over 189 people, killed 69 blacks. I mean, that's worse than the Watts riot. 1961, a subgroup would persist to try what they could to see as ineffective in nonviolent protests, enacted armed resistance. Nelson Mandela helped organize the paramilitary subgroup of the ANC in 1960. Nelson Mandela, we got to fight this. Nelson was arrested for treason in 1961 and sentenced to a life sentence in Africa. So in 1980, it was a letter smuggled out by his wife, Winnie, who was the face of Nelson Mandela to the NAC for 25 years. Winnie Mandela was acting as the face, and Nelson was the boogeyman. He was the martyr that kept South Africans with the fight. And this was what he wrote at that time, the letter to the African nation. This letter: unite, mobilize, fight on, between evil avail of the united masses' actions, and hammer out the armed struggle. We shall crush apartheid. What about the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, Stephen Biko, Kwame Nkrumah, all these nationalist fighters in the cause of freedom? Of 20% of the population of your nation controls everything. Over 1 billion people in South Africa, over 1 billion people in Africa, in the mass of Africa, and over 1 billion people, 900 million are black Africans in Africa. So we didn't have the South African poorest province is Eastern Cape. The wealthiest is Gauteng, around 888,000 of the most rural Eastern Cape live in poverty. Gauteng is a city region which the best opportunities for jobs. Some 610,000 people live in poverty as of October 2023. We didn't talk about, oh, you were in Africa. Okay, what about Alexandria? Alex, one of the poorest townships in South Africa in the province of Gauteng, with the population is about 179,624 blacks, 90%, 99%, 4% coloreds, Asians, and 0.1% whites. When we talk about why, the great Africa, and it's amazing. So the NAC, the biggest trick that de Klerk made, he knew that Nelson Mandela's name, and they was getting ready to make a revolutionary change in the 90s. So de Klerk disenfranchised the ANC by releasing an old man that was broken down. That everybody had said that when Nelson Mandela was freed in 1991, they thought that Africa was liberated. They thought everybody could have a holiday. And he was just an old man, broken and tore down. He made a speech, and his speech says, when he was freed, when he was let out of bondage, Africa thought that there would be a liberation. When he was freed, Africa thought that they had a leader, but I am just a man. He said, my children needed a father that they hadn't had for 25 years. I am just a man. He said, my wife needed a husband that she had missed for 25 years, but I am just a man. So de Klerk then put him up as a token head. And the ANC took a deal and stopped their revolutionary concept for a few and went over. And they turned against Winnie Mandela, the forefront, the fighter, the one that kept the spirit and the inspiration. And they started, de Klerk then made Nelson, put her under charges. And she was so bitter that how she had helped these people, and they let her down. So when you tell me about Africa and what I don't know, I went back and did my due diligence. Winnie Mandela came to the United States Snakes of America and asked America to free Tookie Williams, a gang member that was going to prison and was in prison and was going to the death penalty, was getting the death penalty. She came to America. She didn't go to Disneyland. She didn't go to Hollywood. She went straight to San Quentin. And they had sent her some children's books for Africans. And she said, just give him a pass to come to Africa, exile him from America, and bring him to Africa. And these Peckerwoods would not do it. They would not release him. And you Africans, you let Winnie Mandela down. And now you tell me about, some of these pseudo-intellectuals are telling me about, well, we have middle class. You've always been under a class system, idiot. And it hasn't done you any good at all. The class system was apartheid, segregation. They got it from United Snakes of America. But we're only 13% of the population. And they kept us underhand and underfoot. And they're majority rule. You're the majority rule, and 20% and less than 20% hold you in bondage. Your new president, Cyrus, oh, what is his name? Cyril Ramaphosa, the new president. He has a good idea dealing with the new BRIC system. And he's embraced Russia and China, along with India, the Emirates Republic, and other countries. But you still ain't got with Nigeria. You ain't got with your own. I didn't know Nigeria, and I thought one president for Africa. Each of y'all got your own president. So you blacks need to get together. The BRICS is a good cast off for the dollar. But when you had like Libya, Gaddafi trying to unite the euro and getting your gold and your rights back, you didn't help him when he got oppressed. You kicked back. You didn't do anything that you could have done to make your life better. And I'm glad, but I have a problem with your president right now. Is it utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number? Because that's what works for Africa. The population, the greatest good for the greatest number. But he was a member of the ANC when Nelson Mandela had been hoodwinked, run amok, bamboozled, and he was one of the ones that made a deal with de Klerk and them to disenfranchise the ANC and make them a Democrat. You cannot be a democratic society in Africa. You cannot Americanize yourself, because blacks, wherever we are in the world, with the Jews, the black Jews, the white Jews are over black Jews. In Africa, the white Africans are over the black Africans. In America, the white Americans are over the black, all over the world. So this is not changing, but I'm just saying, Africa, when you talk about me, you know, and you put these contracts on me, don't kill the messenger. I apologize, because y'all do wear sandals and it do look like you barefooted. And in your ghettos, when I was talking about, it was 20,000 in a Lexus right behind one, Sandton, the richest suburb in Johannesburg, right across the river. This mass. I just talked to a girl this weekend. Do you realize how many blacks, Oprah Winfrey, LeBron, Akon, and let's go on, of blacks that are contributing, putting schools and bringing blankets to Africa. One of my friends, Goddess Johnson, she's the ambassador for the blind. It's Uganda, I believe. We just sent blankets and shoes over to an orphanage of blind children that is only one teacher in the whole school, for the first grade to the 12th, over 500 kids. And they want school so bad they get in a boat and go from a river to get across to the school. And some of them drown. In 2023, we're not talking about something that happened decades and years ago. In one of the richest natural countries in the world, gold, minerals, diamonds, and you haven't taken control of that, and you mad at me for bringing it out? Okay, some of y'all doing good. I got a gang of you intellectuals that's been sending me hate mail, and when I respond, send me a picture of your house. No one has done it. They say I got 65,000 negative comments. I'm blowing up the internet with Africans being mad at me for what I said. You can't be mad at me about monkeys and gorillas. Oh, one person said, oh, it ain't no tigers in Africa. I don't know. You got lions. We got tigers. We got a zoo. So I don't know. I just don't know. I ain't been around all of that. But in my experience, it was not what I seen for Black America. If you are the motherland, You are a crackhead motherland, like crackheads in America. You're doing nothing for your children. Not one of your billionaires, not one of your millionaires out of 134 millionaires in Africa, it ain't but 8 black billionaires. 8 black, and ain't but one of them black in Johannesburg. But I don't see y'all sending gangbangers in California and America. You're not reaching out in our Sunday donations. Ain't no Africans sending out anything to help blacks in America. So when I say what I say, I back it up with our 13% of population in the entire America, the churches. You know, Reverend Blake, his Christian movement, they got churches. We have many black preachers over there sending the word of Christianity and sending blankets. How many of you Africans are sending anything to America? You come over here, but you don't go back. Look, this is a picture of Alexandria, 2023. When you say you're doing so good, here's a picture of 2023. This is the township of Alexandria. Little dude drinking out of a faucet. Ladies washing her clothes. Yes. So when you're mad at me telling me about how well everything is, the township of Alexandria. This is not 2001. This is right now in 2023. Live pictures. So I'm not mad. I'm just scared of my life. Please, Africans, don't kill me. Don't send no hitmen. Yes. So he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Yes, I do. And yes, you do have some beautiful towns in Africa. You have some beautiful places, but you don't have blacks living there. The majority of blacks in Africa are in poverty with all the gold and stuff. I hope your president does the liberation in good intent for the masses, for the mass blacks in Africa, and does the right thing. And okay, democracy will not get you anywhere in Africa, not for your rule. You're better off dealing with China and communism. You really need to deal with utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number. You will be better off in 10 years under a utilitarian government than you will a democratic government, because they will bamboozle you. Like I said, a couple of you telling me about now we become middle class. That's what fucked up blacks in America. When it was whites and blacks, poor and rich, we understood where we were. When we become middle class, now y'all fighting with each other or who's doing the best, who has the best TV. Oh, we all have color. No, you don't all have color TVs. And in 2023, it's some townships in Africa that still don't have running water and electricity. So for my other comments of hate in this, man, do your homework. You live in a city you don't know nothing about.
You have heard him, Ayatollah Marv, talking ill about Africa. I don't want to say more about it, but let me say this. As Black American or Caribbean, you are outside Africa. It's you as Africans. We are trying to make Africa better. You too, you are supposed to take Africa or to make Africa better. because this is your motherland. This is where, when you grow up and you know something about you try to trace your family, try to trace your ancestors. Here is where you will fall. And Africa is beautiful. There's very beautiful places in Africa. So please, anybody outside there, any black family outside there, we have had white people coming to Africa and they are saying good things about Africa. I wonder how this black American is saying something bad about Africa. Yes, we know Africa, we have our own things, we have our own issues. Africa, we have our own issues as Africans, but that does not mean you have to diminish our land. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way every day, every time. Peace be with you.